one of the most passionate topic for me, which is the on-chain alpha. I mean, the amount of information you can find here on this website, and we're going to go in details later, is just beyond what I could have imagined. The thing we are sitting on now, you're going to see how that part of alpha to have an edge on the market is just almost unfair now. And this is something that I use to find a Mudeng listing early, the pico bottom of altcoin, someone crashing out and giving away more than 100K on Palm Fund. So if you don't know me, my name is Antoine Rousseau. I've been in crypto for almost a decade now. That's crazy. It doesn't make me any younger. But I've been doing on-chain analysis for like 3 or 4 years. I'm going to explain a bit how I came up with it, how I understood about it, because I think this is important. Now, maybe for MemeCoins, you saw me knowing before when it was crashing some or some before it pumped. I did 2 challenges where I started with nothing. One with $20 and it went up to $20,000 in just 1 week when the market was hot. And when the market was down, I started with $100 and in 35 days, I had $20,000. So that's what I do. And I'm going to explain why this is important and why this alpha is important. It's going to be beyond MemeCoins. Like MemeCoins can stop. It doesn't matter. What we're going to see is a skill that you can keep for the next 20 years. That's it. So to understand the future, we have to understand the past and the evolution of the alpha. And the evolution of the alpha, I'm not talking about you, male in the audience, but the alpha in a way to have an edge on the market, why we can be better and how we can make that money and have our investment in the green. So the alpha always evolved. Back in the days, good old days, the stock market was just people going into a place on the neighborhood. Technically, it was like that. So now can you imagine the level of information you could get that you don't have today? Because it was about what? 100 people, 1,000 people. So if you see everyone coming at the same time, you see someone that always make the good plays. He buys something, it goes up. Then next time you see him going to buy something, you're probably going to do the same thing. But also you might see some other things, some guy who arrived one day completely drunk, his wife just divorced with him, whatever. If the guy is emotionally down the drain, right? And then you're going to be able to see that and know that he's going to have reckless behavior and have an advantage in the market from it. And also, if you know that someone who is super rich, like you're going to see the difference, what the poor guy is buying versus what the rich guy is buying. Because what do you want to be usually? You want to be with the rich guy because he's going to invest money. He can invest more money. When you're with your poor guy, well, you can't do much. And there was a lot of alpha to get here just by knowing which people to follow and who was well connected. And if you see all the aristocracy starting to buy your stock, well, you could have an idea that maybe something's going to happen. Hey, same thing that happened today with the Congress people in USA, right? It's surprisingly, a lot of them are really good to invest in the stock market. Maybe they have a special class at the Congress. I don't know. But we have that information delayed. Imagine if we knew in advance, if you were like in the meeting room with them before they say, are we going to pass this law? Okay, so if we pass this law, that's going to be good for this industry. Okay, which industry is on the stock market for this? There you go. And then the alpha evolved a little bit. The market started to be a bit more institutional. Companies had to publish properly their accounting books and everything, and it was easier to access. And that's where Benjamin Graham, the mentor of Warren Buffett, comes in, because he released the book, The Intelligent Investor. I mean, he had this method before, but it's basically a method where you're going to study all the numbers of that company. And there's something that was not possible before. Of course, not many people want to do that because this is boring for most people to check some accounting. However, it worked greatly for a certain time, and it worked perfectly for Warren Buffett that we know is one of the richest men in history. And after we had the chart. So technically, the chart historically came before the book, but because not everyone could use the chart and it was like almost impossible if you don't have a computer, then we had those, like they printed the chart before. So we had the chart that lets you do technical analysis. Technical analysis is something that works when you have a big pool of people. Why? Because it's basically trying to predict the psychology, human psychology, and their movement according to the price action. Is that okay? Like now we're into euphoria, now we're down, like they're gonna think this, they're gonna think that. But if you don't have a big crowd, it's not gonna work. That's why it doesn't work in meme coins. And after we get the internet and the computer together, what did we have? High frequency trading. The first people who used that made money. 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 It's always like that. Always, if you're early on the alpha, it's good, because after, when it becomes institutionalized and at the higher level, it's impossible. And technically, we had a bit of also the social media with Discord, Reddit, Telegram, and let's not forget MSN Messenger, which lead to a group of people going behind the stock or behind the crypto, and then all rallied together. So I think Reddit was mostly known for Wall Street Bet with a GameStop. That was one of the biggest one. We also had the Dogecoin with it. Now we don't know if we're gonna have another one like that, but still there's a bit of an alpha. However, you can't really measure it directly. So the problem with those is that they don't leverage the blockchain technology. And that's the only problem, actually. There's no other problem. That's the main thing. Because we saw that every time the technology advanced, there's a new alpha getting created. And what is the blockchain? It's simple. The blockchain is just different blocks together, linked, where you have all the transaction inside. That's what the blockchain is. And when I say each block, each transaction, if I go, for example, on Solana, we have all those transactions happening right now. Like if I refresh, I'm probably going to see new transaction, and I can see all those transactions. Like that's a level you could not even imagine in any other investment. Like when the stock market is moving, us as a retail investor, we have no idea of who is buying, who is selling. It's just, if you're a broker, of course you know. You know the guy. I'm going to go deeper into this later on. But we don't have. And then why on earth we would not leverage on this kind of information, knowing all the transaction happening? And technically, you know what? It's something that's been used in crypto, mostly on Bitcoin. That's how, of course, I get a bit into it. And the on-chain analysis will be, all right, we study how the code works, and we know that after that block number, the production of Bitcoin will be halved by 50%. They will be divided by 2, sorry. It will be divided by 2 every time. Pretty much every 4 years. And people were looking at that before. It was kind of a signal that you're going to go into a bull market for the 4 previous time. Like it's not validated yet for the 5th halving. There was a bit of accumulation, but we don't know exactly yet. But the previous one, that always works. So people will always check that, because it's important. If you can read that the production will be divided by 2 and not suddenly the demand get divided by 2, then you have something. You have something. So the first people that saw that, and the first people as well that checked from the wallets of the miners what were their activities, because when miners are just mining and keeping their Bitcoin, well, it's good. There's not much supply out there. But when you see them sending their Bitcoin to exchange or to other wallets, you're like, maybe I should take a little bit of profit, because they're probably selling to pay their electricity bill, right? That's how you want to be careful. And the blockchain serves one purpose, only one. It's transactions. That's what it is, because it's a ledger, right? And a ledger is here to keep an inventory of all the transactions. At the end of the day, even your balance is just a sum of transaction of like you received, you send, you receive, you receive, you receive. Your balance is a sum of those transactions. So now that we know this, we want to look at how we can leverage from the transactions on the blockchain to find some alpha, something that is worth talking about and that can help us to invest better. For that, we need to choose the best blockchain for it. And the way to choose the best blockchain for it is you want something where you have less big institutional money, because otherwise they control everything and you can't do everything. You can't do anything. Not too much of a cartel, and where there is a volume. So according to DeFi Llama, in the last 24 hours, the volume of Solana was twice bigger than Ethereum. Twice bigger. The fees were 3 times bigger. So we can agree that the public love this one more at the minute when I'm talking right now. Even if on Ethereum, there's a lot of the volume that will be for stablecoin and everything, right? So we're going to focus today on Solana. Hey, we don't choose based on what we lack or whatever. We choose where the money is going and where we can have an edge. That's what we do. We don't focus on the flavor. So from OnChain, we can know everything. Who bought, when, how much, how often, how long they normally hold, how good they are. And we can also know how much they have and how long they've been in the game. This is like exchange level of information. Normally, you had to be an exchange to know that. When you place an order, when you have your limit order, you did some leverage, the exchange know exactly when you will get liquidated. They know exactly your behavior. They know if you've been losing money, if you've been making money. Can't they use that information to just for them? I guess they would. In a business where the goal is to make money, as probably they would. And all that information is public. Everything is public. I mean, I want to be sure that you get all that, because when we're going to plug these things together, you're going to be like, oh, wow. For example, this is all the transaction happening for a coin. And you see when it was done, you see buy the sell, the amount, okay? But where you don't have that on any other thing is you have the maker, the address of the person who made it. And you also have the top holders, who is holding, and you have the address. When you go to a place for buying some real estate, you don't know who is owning which house. You have no idea. Maybe you're in somewhere and then actually the same person is owning all the houses. You have to go through someone, ask some information, and a lot of them will be hard to get, and you don't have all that. It's just not public. Here, it's public. Like when I'm checking here, all the transaction happening. Let's check one that happened recently. We have a transfer. Oh, this guy, he make a sell. There you go. Let's check. So this guy swapped some of this token, that must be a new token, for some Solana. I can click on the signer. That's him who signed the transaction. I don't care to know who he is, because I know what kind of investor I have in front of me. I know his balance directly. $2,300. He's okay. He's not very rich. And then I can see all his DeFi activity. So if I was to compile all his DeFi activity, which is buy and swap, I will know if he is profitable or not, right? So then I will have a better idea of like if it's someone I should follow, or if I am in the play with someone that doesn't know how to trade at all. Something to pay attention to. Because That information is with digging. Now we don't want to have to do that. I don't want you to have to go on like on the screener and have to be reading all the transaction like that, because that's what I was doing before. And I think your time is better spent somewhere else. So how can we automatically detect this alpha? How can we find directly Charlie? I mean, it's not Charlie in English. I'm French. You know that by now. I'm sorry. Yet no one is perfect. Willie, whatever that guy's name is. You see him in a crowd of crypto people here, right? Well, that's what we want. We want to see of all those transactions, the one that stand out, the one that are most important, the one that we should pay attention. It would be like when we talk about the pit before with Waldo. Thank you, Waldo, good old Waldo. When we talk about the pit where people would buy the stocks and everything in the arena, which stayed in New York for a while, right? The Wall Street. If you had the binoculars and you see directly the good person, that's what it is. You want to know everything that is outstanding, that is not the normal transaction. Because if we know this, if we can spot what the smart money is doing, then we can spot the next 10x meme coin and AI plays before the plebs. I put meme coins, but honestly, it could be any coins because it doesn't matter. The way we're going to do it, if we just buy, we just see what the smart money is doing, what are the phases of accumulation and things like that. We don't care. It could be something else. Tomorrow they can buy some coins about like healing your feet or like running. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And we're going to be able to time and buy or sell without second guessing, but also track potential exchange listings. That's one, I know, it used to be like if you find a good exchange listing in advance, you're sure that you're going to have a really good time. Well, we're going to see how we can do that. Maybe we're going to find some. Just have a few minutes to wait for that. So how to spot the next 10x plays? We need to reverse that question to what is a good play? Well, a good play, first, what does it look like? What does it feel like? And what does it taste like? Might not need to taste it. But what is a good play? It's in the meta means in the trend. So if everyone is buying different meme coins, then you want something around meme coins. You want some whales holding. You want to see some whales accumulating. And the price is down or going down. Why I say this, most of the time, you want to be the guy who is buying something that bottomed out. But sometimes the market is just hitting too hard and it doesn't matter. And then you know it's going to go just higher because the price target are 100 million or 1 billion. So you can. And the last one, without the rest, is meaningless. Like if you see the price down or going down, but there's no wares holding or accumulating and it's not in the meta, it's useless. Like if I could say one of the most important things would be that choose one is just where is accumulating. The money, you want the flow to be held by the whale because they can sell fast. That's the first thing. And then also they know better what they do and they have more power. They can hold that flow. And what is not a whale? What is not a whale is everything that is classified as small fish. No, it's doing 15 buy and sell per hour, aping into tons of coins, not having uniformity in the wallet and no cash in the wallet. They just don't have money. So the way it's accumulating, they accumulate slowly with recurring transactions. And that's where you have to be careful of how you read because most of people, they don't see that. Like actually what I'm going to see, I haven't seen anything like that before. I mean, I haven't seen anyone doing how we do it here. So you're going to see like, why is that? They use different wallets usually. They move slowly and they come back. They come back. Let me show you exactly how it works. I'm going to use TalkChain here because a lot of people like, I mean, we could go in detail, but for example, a way she's not going to use just a bot where she just buy and sell. She's going to do like some kind of recurring orders. She's going to place like different orders. And let's take with a stock chain, because we built this tool to accumulate all those data. So the smart money tracker is just going to tell me what is the smart money doing if they're buying, selling Solana, and then if they're accumulating or selling their meme coin. There was a lot of accumulation going on MemeCoins yesterday because they accumulated 3.5 millions and sold 2.2 millions. And today the volume is insane. It's 5 million on each side. So maybe there's a play. We will see in a minute. And then we can see what is the most bought, the most sold. So let's go here, because I can check what is getting accumulated. So Filecoin, 830K. Okay, like everyone is focused on Housecoin, right? But now we see a lot of Filecoin. So this guy bought $1.1 million of Filecoin. I can open his wallet and I will have the detail of what he has. Okay, you see exactly what we were talking about? His balance is 0.1 Solana. 0.1 Solana. And his portfolio is worth $1.3 million. So this guy is just not going to buy and sell constantly. He's here to accumulate and stay in the coin. And we're going to see in the DeFi activities, there we go. Boom, boom, boom. You see what I was saying exactly? They accumulate with recurring orders. We see it. That's like that. And then if you know how to spot those and aggregate those, like we do at Stockchain, then you know what the smart money is doing. Because that's not the normal behavior. To rethink how the things are done, you have to think like that. Like I know some people, they've been trying to do something around with smart money and they just check the profit and loss for the wallet. It's actually quite a mistake to do, because those wallets will not seem to be in profit because of how they accumulate. Yes, because they use also different wallets and then they aggregate in one place. And the wallets that are the most profitable are usually the bots, because they keep the same wallet, and also the guys who create scams because they use the same wallet. But those guys, they use different wallets. They use new wallets sometimes. They segregate. If you think, okay, I have 100 million to invest. What are you going to do? Are you going to put all into just one little wallet? No, you're going to have different wallets for different purposes. And are you going to one-click $10 million? No, again. And that's how. Like I'm saying too much already now, but that's how you can know what's going on and what are they doing. So you can check, of course, on the last 3 days and 7 days if you wanted to have more details. But let's see. I want to know what's going on right now. Like, what are they buying and selling? I'm like, okay, we have a lot more on Filecoin. Filecoin is at 1.2 billion now, by the way. That's kind of crazy. Let's put the chart on 1 week. And you can see they started to accumulate yesterday. Yesterday, we get 400K. Today, 800K. And then the price, of course, is going up. But it would be the same on like a really different coin. Let's check, for example, Tron. Tron is having tons of movement. I haven't seen a strong accumulation of the smart money yet, but now it just seems to be. Well, what happened? Okay, we are on 1 week. This is 28, 29, and 30. We start to see, well, proof is in the pudding as soon as you were on the 28 when they start to accumulate, because the accumulation at the lower price is more important. And then it was always a positive inflow. That means they're buying. And who they're buying from? They're buying from retail investors. Retail investors are selling fast, those shrimp, and all the supply goes in the hands of the whale, which they build the floor. Because when they do those accumulation phases, they basically exhaust the sellers. When there's no more sellers, you have only buyers, and on MemeCoins, it can rocket up. And we can see at the moment they started to buy bigger, Well, the price almost doubled. Actually, it did kind of, because it was at 20 and now it's around 40. So let's see later if they start to sell it or not. That will be with the second part to know how we can see if they are selling something. Like, I could go on and on in detail. Like, oh, this coin is popular. It's weird that it came back here now. I never saw almost any accumulation on this before. So this person is interesting because we already see that it's not in their wallet. So what we're going to do is we're going to check what happened. Maybe they sold it as well already. And I think, yes, they did. Like 11 minutes ago. Yeah, they did sell it. Swap. Oh, no, they bought some. So let me check what is going on here. We have different activities. We have some buys, but we don't see it in their wallets. Maybe they send it to another wallet in the same buy. I will have to dig this in deeper later on. Don't want to bore you guys out of your mind with this. And this is what I will check. The top buyers and also the top sellers. Who are they? Why are they selling? There was one that was pretty cool. House coin. I don't know if I'm going to find it because it was a lot of movement on it. This guy. Example, this guy. This guy is being buying and selling house coin constantly. Like now, he bought a little bit, and he's been like accumulating, selling, accumulating, selling, and he timed it so well. That's what they do. That's how the smart money do it. Are you guys still with me? I hope I'm not overloading the information. Someone is asking, is that possible? The one market making it. So the market makers, they will use different things. Like usually market makers will make way more orders and we don't count them in. We don't have them in, we filter them out because that was one thing at the beginning that could skew the results. And like how I would find the coins to go in, I always check, well, of course the top tokens can help. Like some, for example, that's how like my business partner found that Fartcoin was at the bottom of the bottom when it was around 250, something like that, because we started to see whales buying. But if you see a coin that is always getting bought in the last 24 hours, there's always some accumulation. There's something going on. I think like Housecoin was a beautiful case of it. Like that's the first coin that arrived at 100 million recently that was created. But to find the best place, I would go into trade analytics and I check, okay, like which one, because this is a tape basically that shows me each day and I can see the rank change. So when I see something popping in the rankings and they have a small market cap, I'm like, okay, there is some stuff going on here. By the way, this is pure alpha, but all the altcoins, they're getting a lot of accumulation. I don't know why. Like this one, Vine, look at that. Like, have you heard about Vine recently? No, me neither. Me neither. But why someone yesterday bought 80K worth of it? And then the day before, there was 12K. So, of course, now I bet that the price starts to go back up. Yeah, oh, that's magical, huh? It's magical. As soon 28, you see a reverse, something that is big. Like they started actually even on the 21.20, they started to accumulate a bit here at 35. And then, well, we know what happened when we don't have sellers anymore and only buyers. The price went up. That was not the biggest thing, but like the good thing is you could, if you have bigger capital or leverage on this, Mother is a weird case as well. Mother was a coin that was popular before. And why do we have only accumulation? 17K, bam, 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 same, green, 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 green. And this one, it went from nothing, it was at 4 million, back up to 20 million. I think a lot of the old coins are going to have a challenge, by the way, to break through because tons of holders are at a loss and then they're going to finally see like, oh, now I'm in the green, I'm going to sell, oh, I'm going to put somewhere else. That's something important. So always check like what is going on, what is the new ones getting accumulated. And like this, you can have a pretty good idea of the movements. Like the movements on house were crazy. Like it was the first time that we see really big movements like that again. And then a lot of them, actually, if I open this guy, sorry, I wanted to open the biggest buyer. What do we see is a guy that have 1.6 million worth of Fartcoin. Again, that's not your normal Joe in the basement of his mom wallet. That's someone that is acting smartly. Like you don't just happen to have $1.7 million worth of one meme coin and then going 300K into another one and have USDC. Normally, your portfolio like mine, like it's like a bunch of different coins in it. And that's how it is. Like that's how you can see some different. Like for example, April 28, tons of coins just appeared in it. Troll game back up. I mean, the market is heating up now. It's really important to monitor that. By the way, you can do this manually. It just takes like insane amount of time because all those transactions are public again. I'm not like I'm using Stockchain to aggregate them because it's way easier. Otherwise, I would have to go through all that and then, well, I have other things to do. I'm French after all, huh? Not gonna remove the laziness from the French. So how to dine or buy and sell without second guessing. Now that we saw, okay, like we can find the next coins that will be interesting, that can 10x, that can have a high potential. So how are we gonna time or buy and sell? Well, for this, it's just against the whale. The whales are entering at bottom price and the whales are leaving. That's what it is. We want the floor to be held by the smart money instead of Joe in his mom basement doing online tantrum at 35 years old. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm going after Joe again. But that's the 80-20. Let me go deeper into this and you're gonna understand. Let's take this coin, for example, whatever. I'm gonna see the details of that coin. The supply of this coin, okay, is held 53% by 107 wallets. That's it. 107. They hold most of the supply. The dolphin is about 1,000 wallets, and then the shrimp is 6,000 wallets. The 80-20, like the 20 richest wallets, 20% own more than 80% of this supply. So that's what you want to look at. You want to know what those guys are doing. The weight to shrimp ratio, it's important. You want to know, like you don't want, actually, it's funny enough, but like from what I've seen, you usually don't want the money to be in the shrimps too much. Because the shrimp, they move fast, they're unpredictable. The whale is slow. You can see them loading and loading. And when you check the top orders of this coin, for example, Troll, there's one thing that just stands out. First is their Solana balance. Really small balance every time. Really small balance. Except this guy. Let's check who is this guy. This guy get 1 million. Okay, that might be an exchange. I know there was some swaps. We might have found a good wallet. No, it's getting too much. No, that's Mexi. That's Mexi. That's Mexi wallet. That's an exchange wallet. But even the exchange is not owning more than the holders. That's how it is in MemeCoins. And then what you want to see is if you are in the coin like that, you want to follow those wallets. You want to be sure because you're going to be like, all right, like this guy started selling, for example. He sold 25K. You have still 300K. Who is this guy? Want to know the details of him. All right, you get some troll, get some house coin. We aggregate the data, but we always want to see also. Okay, yeah, he's doing some swaps still. Okay, he was accumulating more house. Okay, interesting. Wojak. But he has $1.6 million worth of meme coins. And another thing that is different from crypto to any market is you swap from one coin to another. Swap from one to another. So the money is always flowing in a way. A lot more than in the stock market. In the stock market, you buy something, you sell it, you out, you are in dollars until you find something else to buy. You don't sell to buy directly the other one, right? There is something a bit different here. So we can see those movements. And for example, if I was on this guy, well, I will put troll whale. He's actually, the thing is, he needs to sell one coin to buy the other ones, right? Because he doesn't have any balance. And we saw him selling some other coins to buy some house coin. And I could stalk it, which means like now I will have, every time he makes a transaction, I will have him in my feed. So when those kind of guys start to leave the party, I will take some profit. I would take some profit because he's holding 1.4% of the supply. This guy has a lot more money in it than most of the other guys. So when I see that first, the outflow of accumulation, now you start to see, by the way, that it starts to be a lot bigger on the outflow as well. Huh? The inflow of accumulation is 360, 326, and 234 on the exit. Well, the day before, it was just accumulation. So it's no more now that it gets bigger. It's going to move. Like I will monitor what is the next day. I will monitor what is the next day because, I mean, if I'm already in profit now, I would take some profit. But then if I see the next day going like red, I'll be all right. It's time to move on, Antoine. It's time to move on. What ratio on the outflow inflow do you like to see before entering a position? I like to see a positive inflow because if we have something where the ratio of inflow and outflow is about the same, then we're in a range that we don't know where the price is going to go yet. We don't know who's going to win between the bear and the bull. And I don't want to be that guy in the middle. I just can't be that guy in the middle. Like if I'm doing with my personal wallet, like that's they're having their own fight. But the one we all saw before is the way I'm getting accumulated when no one talks about it, when no one cares. Like that's exactly what we were talking about with the chart being bottomed out. That's when the coins getting accumulated the most. Like if I could show like the fart coin what was happening before, it was just crazy. It was just crazy. And I think it's happening a lot more because we see some old coins that no one were talking about again getting accumulated again. That's where you want to have. That's the 80-20. And that's why I'm always listening to big orders and not big yappers. Because whales live slow because of slippage. If there's too much slippage, they're going to leave. Now, I'm going to show you one thing. I don't want to show it because it's a bit too powerful. Like this aggregates everything. If you in less than 6 hours, you see all the accumulation. But I have a way to know what's happening right now. We can measure all the accumulation and the selling happening right now, which creates a crazy advantage because you know what people are buying or selling under your feet right now. Like some people are selling their mother for Filecoin, and I can see like they have some accumulation going on every minute. There was some big ones that happened recently. Like now we're at a time that the market is going to be a bit slower. I mean, there's someone buying a lot of Jupiter right now. I don't know what he's doing. Let's see if we had some good one. Nobody is still on the sell. We got Osico. Okay. Let me try to find a very big order that was going on. Now you see, this guy was paying 1.1 million. He was here. So that was just an hour ago. That was just an hour ago. That's crazy. So what I want, the top of the top, is if I see directly that my coin is getting accumulated heavily, or one coin that is in the meta and everything, I can go in because I know that I have the win in my back. Someone is buying on top of me. And I make good money with that, honestly. Pretty good money, actually. But also what I want to know, like, look at this guy buying $1 million worth of USDC, of Jupiter. What does he have in his wallet? Well, that's going to be mostly Jupiter's. It is. You get like 25K in Solana, not much other memes, and probably going to see that, right? 5,000. And he's buying every 5 minutes, I believe. Yeah, every 5 minutes, 5,000. You want to be with that guy in the trade. But when he's doing to do the same, the opposite way, time to press sell, no feelings attached, and we leave. That's important to do like that. That's why, like, this is on another level. I will let you know later. We can go deeper into this, but let's say this was never shown before, okay? Because that's the legend tools tier that we have, and how to track potential exchange listing. So exchange listing are an interesting play. First is, how does an exchange behave? You gotta be Antoine. I came here to get question answered, and what you do in this presentation is asking other questions. I know, but most questions can be answered by another question. Isn't it crazy, right? Except if I ask my girlfriend, how does an exchange behave? Well, they don't leave footprints behind, or they try, so they can't do big orders. Because if they were coming in and then swap 500K into a coin, the price gonna go ballistic. They don't have big holdings. They spread across wallets, and they invest in the hot stuff. Why? Because they want to make money out of our volume. That's what they do. That's what an exchange do. And they buy OTC, that's a stingy DEX, and big transfer, no buys on chain. So what is OTC? It's over the counter. I don't know why we call it over the counter. It means on the table like that. It's person to person. I would call it under the table, UTC, but no, UTT. Yeah, UTT, under the table. So that's how you can see if something is happening. As you saw before, we get the Mexi exchange. So let's go into those. How we can spot them. We have these that we're going to look out, and then we're going to look at the other one as well. So again, oh no, I closed the stock chain. We're going to go into one of the popular coins. Let's say top tokens. Let's take this one. I don't know if there's an exchange listing coming, but that's probably not sure yet. It was a bit of a retracement. So I'm going to go into token analytics. All right. This guy. See, this guy, this token is a bit younger. So I see a lot more wallets that are like that. But if I see tons of wallets that have never bought, buy USD. You see that? Buy USD. They never bought. How do you get a meme coin without buying? Right? So that's why, like, you don't get a meme coin by not buying it. So there was some kind of transfer that they did. So I will try to pay attention to those things. And if I see a lot of them going into that, so like maybe this one could be interesting as well. Get some house. They usually don't have so many different coins together, right? Well, I don't think this one is getting listed yet. We will see. We have to pay attention. But this guy again, like you see, when I talk about accumulation, it is again and again, and I'm just checking the top. I'm not even trying to do like that. So the exchange, they can buy many different ways. A lot of the time, again, it's going to be OTC. So you're going to see transfers, and you know that they usually have to be in the top of the holders. They have to be there. So if you see some suspicious activity on one coin, you're going to be, there's something. But again, it's going to matter a lot about like what is the most bought tokens. And in those most bought tokens, because they have to accumulate as well, you're going to see some wallets that hold only one token. And when those they only hold one token, then you really have something. I think today is not something we're going to find. Why? Because we are close, though, to get back into, if it continues like that, because one coin went to 100 million, then we could see some listing happening next. And then that could trigger another wave on the market. However, now more and more people just trade on chain. So the market listing by the exchange is just not going to be as powerful. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's just not going to be as powerful. Zero, bro, like this one crashed recently. Crashed again. That's one of the only that crashed again. And then we managed to have something that now is getting accumulated. Interesting. After a big sell-off, we start to see accumulation again. That's probably something I would study and understand this one. Like, who is this guy? 0.01. Okay. What did he do with his zero, bro? He sold it? Yeah, he sold it. He bought it and sold it. Yeah, it's the same wallet. Some strange things happening there. Maybe he was just trying to make some volume. I don't know. Well, it's definitely like if you see some coins here getting accumulated with some tiny wallets, that's how I spotted some exchange listing. It's not an exact science because they always change and they're going to try to do it differently. But now there is another way. I don't know if I should show that because that's probably one of the best alpha that we got recently. You guys want to see it? Should I show it? Have some yes. I have one yes in the chat. If you have only, okay, I have 2 yes. Is this a lot? Okay, so that's the moment where I'm sure there is a chance that I can post the recording, depending on what we're gonna find once I click here. Because what I'm gonna show you is fresh wallets. You remember when I say how does an exchange behave, right? They usually spread across wallets. They have all the different stuff. But instead of just looking at exchanges, and I want more people to do that now, is to look more at investment funds as groups who act together, who have a way bigger portfolio, or just like guys who've been on chain for a while and then they made a lot of money. Because they're going to act a lot similar to the exchange. And they're going to segregate between different wallets. So this feed here is going to show me the fresh wallet. What is a fresh wallet? It's a wallet that just came into activity. For example, it was loaded a week ago, never bought anything, and suddenly buy something. Or wallet that was just created now and started to buy some stuff. Why do we want to know this? Because if a wallet gets created and loaded from an exchange, for example, that could give some size. Yeah, if I wanted to know only the sex fund, no, not the other one. If I wanted to know, right, like which coin, for example, let's check land. Land. I don't think we're gonna see much because it's only $2 million market cap. Okay, we have yesterday, but that's it. It was, again, not a big one. Let's take a one that is more interesting. Housecoin. Housecoin, okay, we have 2 buys from KuCoin an hour ago. That means it was funded by KuCoin. So the guy was on KuCoin on his exchange and went through like, oh, I need to withdraw, validate your ID, validate your thing, validate your that. And then you have to validate all those things to fund your wallet. So why would you go out of your way to do that? Right? There's always something that can happen. Yesterday was insane. Yesterday I did well with what's the name? Lemon, I think. Lemon. And it crashed down. There you go. What's happening? There we go. I bought around here and then it was rocketing. What was happening on lemon? On lemon, we saw a massive accumulation. Yesterday, swap. 20K, 20K. When I just show you another coin, there was no swaps of that order. All those wallets were making massive buys. So what did I do when I started to see that? Well, good old Antoine went in the middle and he was like, okay, we can buy some because the chart was already down a lot. I started to see this and then it buys. And then those were a massive buy. I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea. I have honestly no idea. I don't even know if this guy's still holding it. Yeah, he has still 27K of lemon. That poor guy lost half of his value. So let's monitor what this guy's gonna do. I don't think that there will be a listing by Binance, but honestly, I don't care because I don't try to think. I just check what's happening. For me, like you see, exactly, a fresh wallet. This wallet did no transaction before prior to that. And that's something you need to monitor because every transaction that is happening on chain that is not your normal Joe transaction is a transaction worth to watch. And when you are on the coin and you start to see, oh, a lot of fresh wallet accumulating, that's good. Now, maybe you wonder, why would someone go out of their way for that? Again, when you're acting with a big fund, you want to spread it. So you want to have it from different wallets. Because if you have everything on one wallet, everyone's just going to be watching your wallet like that, like a meerkat. And then as soon as you hit 1% sell, they're going to be blah, 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 and sell everything. People don't want to see all the supply held by one wallet. We saw that the whales own usually about, we saw that they own like 50% to 80% of the supply, right? Like this one, 61%. 62, I could say. 125 whales. So those guys, they don't want to show that actually it's even in less people. So people believe that it's okay. That's how they do it. That's how they do it. And the fresh wallets are usually a positive sign. It's not exact science, of course, everything we talk about, but you want to stack the odds in your favor to have the wind blowing in your back like that, you know? Let's check if we have some other swaps. Okay. So usually if I have a coin, like I will get posted and then be like, Trencher could be interesting to check. I think it's a bit small to get a, okay. We have 19 hours ago, 11 hours ago, 5 hours ago. HGX Binance, different, really different type of wallet. I'm surprised because this one was getting less traction recently. Hmm. Okay. 9. This one is almost 1 month old now, actually. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. There's different phases of accumulation. Let's see. The good old trencher can have tons of different ones. And of course, like selling it goes the same way, huh? To not show that the way they're selling, what they do is they send to another wallet, and that's that other wallet that do the sell. Don't worry, they spend all day doing that. They spend all day. So like if you don't have the right tools to see it, you're not gonna be able to see it. MVG, look at this guy, sold 12K. Because if you are of a big position, people don't want you to see to sell. They don't want you to make money. So you want to be careful of that. MVG, we had tons of fresh wallet transaction, tons of it. That's usually a good one. So when you're gonna start to see a lot of wallets accumulating one coin, I don't know, but I would be careful. I'd be careful. I would pay attention. That's for sure. That's like the most important thing. I heard a little beautiful notification. That means we had a circle again. Look at that. They're offloading their prees now. Someone is offloading his prees. Prees didn't do so well, huh? There's one more thing actually. It's money back guarantee. So that means if in the next 30 days you use TalkChain and it doesn't give you any alpha, we refund you to the last penny. If this tool doesn't work, we don't deserve your money. It doesn't make sense. Like what I want, it's you, like all the other people that use TalkChain, that's gonna make a tweet like that that said that they had tons of information from it, that they had like insane alpha. You can search on Twitter and everything what people are saying about TalkChain. Like, I mean, the opportunity is now to get that promotion, but otherwise, you do as you want. If you have any question, of course, I'm here to answer. It doesn't have to be about the offer. It's just a bonus that I wanted to give you guys, but my goal was to level you up for on-chain analysis because this is something that I'm passionate about and I just want to share my passion and have more people being on this. The email you can contact the support is contact@TalkChain. And I think there is a button directly. You can contact us on Twitter as well. We pretty fast on that. And then we have a customer support for it here. There you go. There's a button. You can contact us there. Normally, the legend tools is just this part, but those tools are powerful. But for most people, it's going to be enough to just go with the smart money tracker to see what is getting accumulating, the top tokens, the trade analytics, which going to show you all that. What we saw at the beginning, like how to find the next 10x, how to time, you get everything. You get 80% of it. The last 20% is the nitty gritty to know that, all right, the fresh wallet and the all open orders, which come in the legend tools. But like we get so many tools, like you can even know, like if you find a wallet, you can see how many times, how many people are copy trading it. Like all that part of the Solana tools that go into in the masterclass that we have. I'm not going to go in today because it's just going to be another topic. Like that's like you have all the whales, you can track them, you can rename them. I really invite you actually when you start to use it, rename them, give them a name because like that you can see them again and you're like, oh yeah, I know that guy. I saw him before. I remember that guy. I'm very, it's always, oh, it's nice to see you again. You see, Swing DCA is here. He's going, oh, it's nice to see you again. I love that. Someone said, I'm broke here, can I get a special monthly plan? No, if you don't have any money to invest, you should get the tools before. Like a lot of people they start to invest, they start to make mistakes, and they're like, oh, maybe I should get tools, but it doesn't make sense. Like if you go to the forest to take down some trees because you need some trees, you're gonna go to the forest with your tools, right? You're not gonna go first with your hand and then break your arm and you're like, maybe I need something to cut down the trees, and then go back and then, but now I can't have a hand, so I can't hold the tool. You always take the tools before you go into something, or you build your own tools. That's what we built that. Like it was no way I would trade without tools. It's just I can't. Like if today you remove me the access to stockchain, I will genuinely have no idea how to trade and how to do it. But it's the same. Like if you in like in the gold rush, like if you go and you have like just nothing, or maybe you pick an axe, you just have that. But there's a guy who goes with the metal detector, industrial grade extraction. Who's gonna win? Future talent. It is always the one who have the tools. The best tools create the best opportunities. It is the same in business. It is the same in investing. It's always about the tools. That's why I showed the evolution of the alpha. And now the alpha is on-chain analysis. You can't do technical analysis on the MemeCoin because we saw 100 wallets on all the supply. Those guys move the whole market. You could have drawn everything. If you didn't know that this guy is selling or transferring or whatever, it's collapsing. It's collapsing. So once meme get institutional, it won't work anymore. Probably not at the same level. It will still work in a way. I don't know. They're not there yet. I mean, there might be actually. There might be, because all the wallets where you see they own only one coins, there's a high chance that is institutional money behind it. Like this is investment firms for sure. They don't act like just the guys you see yapping on Twitter. So there is a way. Okay, say I sent the payment, would I get the info and email, etc.? So normally if you pay by card and use the same email directly for login, it will be fine. And if you pay by crypto, you need to use the same wallet to log in. But you should receive those one. Like if there was an issue, just contact us. I'm gonna have to go, and I see you next time. And for everyone who joined, well, I see you in less than 24 hours. We're gonna have the group coaching. We're gonna see and explore together. You're gonna see it's different thing. We go like directly. We do the research with you and show you all the best stuff. And let's go. And don't worry, huh? If in 30 days you don't get any alpha from it, it didn't help you make money, then be fun. That's it. There's no way. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you, Lakaya. Thank you, Akra. Hi, everyone. Have a good one. Ciao.